Hello, my Tindora, my Ta, how are you? Today I bring you another series full of drama, boyfriends and toxic friends, and many more surprises. Come with me to hear the following spoilers. The series begins with a young student named Han Yul, who is getting ready to spend the day with her boyfriend, Kdrama, a young man she met several years earlier when she was coming back from school. That day, the protagonist realized that someone was following her, and when she turned around to try to find out who it was, Kdrama came up to her to ask for her phone number. Since Han Yul was young and inexperienced in love, she agreed to go out with him without even hesitating, and ever since then, they have made a beautiful couple. Once she is already at the meeting place, the protagonist waits for several minutes without hearing anything from her boyfriend, so she decides to send him a message, but later regrets it and deletes it, since she does not want to pressure him. At the moment, a friend of Han Yul's named Ho Young, who is out walking with his girlfriend, Jo Hwa, approaches her to talk for a while and invite her to go for a walk with them. Nevertheless, the protagonist chooses to stay there waiting for her boyfriend, but in the end, night falls and Kdrama never appears. So disappointed, she decides to go back home. On the way, Han Yul spots her boyfriend, Kdrama, in the distance walking hand in hand with another girl, so she realizes that he was cheating on her and had simply been playing with her. Moments later, when she gets home, Han Yul bursts into tears. The next morning, she decides to break off her relationship with Kdrama, and he tries to justify himself by assuring her that his father was sick in the hospital. Oh, what a shameless guy. After that, the protagonist turns around and bumps into a classmate of hers named Woo Hyun, who, after asking Han Yul whether she is Kdrama's girlfriend, receives some provoking words from him. After hearing Han Yul tell him that she has just broken up with him, he decides to leave the place without saying a single word. Once in class, the teacher orders his students to take part in the activities that the institute is organizing for them, so the students begin to debate which activity they like the most. Then Han Yul suggests to her friend Ho Young that they sign up together for the excursion. So, even though his girlfriend Jo Hwa tells him that she wants to go to the museum, the young man listens to the protagonist and decides to go with her. After school, Jo Hwa looks visibly upset by what happened and begins to ignore Ho Young. However, at that moment, Han Yul begins to cry as she remembers what happened with Kdrama, and the young man approaches the protagonist to check on her, provoking his girlfriend's jealousy, and she infers that he cares more about Han Yul than about her. Later at night, while Han Yul is at home, Kdrama sends her a message letting her know that he has her wallet, since after she dumped him, it fell to the ground when she bumped into Woo Hyun. So the next day, when the protagonist goes to pick it up, her ex-boyfriend begs her to get back together with him, assuring her that the girl he was with that night was simply a friend. In response, Han Yul assures him that she does not believe his words, and after making it clear that she is not getting back together with him, Woo Hyun approaches her to offer her some water, and they leave for class together. The teacher explains the details of the excursion to them, and moments later they leave in their van for the beach. Once there, while several students argue among themselves, Han Yul walks off alone along the shore. However, after several minutes, Woo Han comes up to her again, and when they sit down to talk, the protagonist tells him how surprised she is by the attitude he is taking with her, since he is always alone and without talking to anyone, which angers the young man, who reacts badly and asks her to leave so she can leave him alone. I can imagine Han Yul thinking, I was just saying. At that moment, their classmates realize that they know nothing about Han Yul and Woo Hyun, so they decide to go look for them, while Jo Hwa begins to suspect that her boyfriend is in love with the protagonist. This way, the young man leaves the place and watches from a distance as Woo Hyun manages to rescue Han Yul after she trips on the way to the rooms, so he returns relieved to know that she is fine. Later, the protagonist decides to go to Woo Han to thank him for what happened, but since he is talking on the phone, the young man believes that her intention is to listen to the conversation and rudely asks her to leave. Next morning, Woo Hyun wakes up after a nightmare in which he remembers that his parents died on his birthday and, after realizing that it is his birthday, decides to go to church to honor their memory. Meanwhile, Han Yul and her friends wait at school to surprise him, but they are left standing there when he never shows up. As she leaves, the protagonist sends him several messages to check in. After that, Han Yul spots Kdrama in the distance and starts running so that he will not come near her again. At that moment, she sees that Woo Han is walking and decides to follow him to find out what is going on. And in this way, she manages to follow him all the way to the church and, from outside, ends up overhearing his conversation with the priest about the death of his parents and discovers that this is the reason for his behavior. I am lying. When he comes out, Han Yul approaches him to talk. And despite pretending that she knows nothing about what happened, he confesses that he is aware that she has been following him. This guy is a ninja. At that moment, Woo Han remembers a conversation with the priest in which he confesses that lately he is happy when he is with Han Yul. However, when the priest assures him that his only intention is to help him find happiness again, he responds with enormous frustration that he does not want anyone's help and leaves the place. Thus, when he gets home, the young man bursts into tears after receiving a message from the protagonist worrying about him once again and remembering his argument with her. Next day, when Han Yul goes to the institute, Kdrama approaches her again to ask her to get back together with him, and after being rejected by the protagonist once more, he grabs her by the arm against her will and assures her that she will get back together with him the hard way. However, a friend of the protagonist witnesses that scene and manages to pull him away from her. On the other hand, while Woo-hoon walks toward the classroom, Ho-young approaches him to tell him that the day before they had prepared a surprise party for him. But after seeing that the young man does not show even the slightest interest in what happened, filled with indignation, he threatens to hit him. But in the end, Woo-hyun turns his back on him and walks into the classroom as if nothing had happened. Once in class, the students begin talking about the museum Jo-hwa wanted to go to, and when they leave the institute, Woo-hyun forces Han Yul to go home after following her with the intention of accompanying her. I imagine it is to protect her from her super toxic ex-boyfriend. Because of this, the protagonist heads home, but when she reaches her building, she runs into Ga-ram, the super toxic ex-boyfriend, along with two of his friends threatening to beat her up together if she does not agree to get back with him. How horrible. Nevertheless, at that moment, Woo-han appears and manages to defeat the three young men and save Han Yul. Wow. After what happened, we discovered that Jo-hwa was the mastermind behind the ambush against the protagonist and that she had arranged all of this with Ga-ram because of the jealousy she felt toward her. Then Han Yul invites Woo-hyun to her house. And after tending to his wounds, they say goodbye, visibly in love with each other. Next day, at the museum, Jo-hwa goes to the bathroom, and once there she runs into Ga-ram and begins to talk about what happened. However, at that moment, Han Yul and her friends also go to the bathroom, and after seeing the two of them talking, they hide a few feet behind them to listen to the conversation. On the other hand, Woo-hyun asks Ho-jung if he is in love with the protagonist, given his enormous interest in her. However, he answers that he is not, and after assuring him that he considers her simply a friend, thanks him for defending her the night before. After that, Woo-hyun and Ho-young also go to the bathroom, because everyone felt like going to the bathroom at that moment, and there they discover, along with Han Yul, the truth of what happened, so Ho-young confronts Ga-ram, but he completely ignores him and leaves without saying a word. As for Jo-hwa, the protagonist asks her the reason why she tried to hurt her, but she, very frankly, answers that the reason was the jealousy she felt toward her. She was honest. At night, Han Yul's friend insists on accompanying the protagonist home out of fear, that Ga-ram will try to hurt her again, but she assures her that nothing is going to happen to her and says goodbye to her. Meanwhile, Ho-young arrives at his girlfriend's house and sends her a message, promising to wait for her so he can apologize for his lack of concern toward her. However, after a long while, Jo-hwa does not appear, and the young man begins to suspect that his feelings toward her are no longer the same. Later, Woo-hyun meets up with Han Yul, and she confesses to him that she does not understand the reason why Jo-hwa could be jealous of her, given that they have been close friends for a long time. In response, the young man manages to calm her down and convince her that they will soon recover their friendship. With friends like that, who needs enemies? Next day, the students arrive at the institute, and Han Yul's friend convinces her classmates to take pictures together, given that it is the last day of class. However, upon leaving, they realize that Jo-hwa has not attended, and Ho-young decides to head to her house to try to talk to her. After that, Han Yul takes her friend by the arm, and they also head toward Jo-hwa's house, so Woo-hyun decides to follow them. Upon arriving there, Ho-young finally finds her, and after apologizing for his attitude over the last few days, he hugs her through tears, thus resuming their relationship. Following this, Han Yul and her friend arrive as well, and after talking for a while, they manage to recover their friendship in the same way. Meanwhile, the protagonist's friend shares with Woo-han a video that she recorded herself on the day they prepared the surprise party for his birthday. So after seeing the well wishes and encouragement from his classmates, the young man smiles and decides to improve his attitude. After the summer vacation, the students reunite again on the first day of class, and Han Yul decides to confess her feelings for Woo-hyun to him. So after he reciprocates, and they both join in a very warm hug, the protagonist grabs his hand, and they walk together toward the class. And that is how this drama ends. I hope you liked it as much as I did. Before I go, I would like to greet Paloma Ine, Sofia, Monica Melissa, and Regina Noemi. Thank you for watching. Until next time. Oh, and do not forget to subscribe, like, share, and all that. Bye-bye.